Welcome to Top Celebrities Data. They made us laugh, cry, and believe in dreams. But behind the lights and fame, many of them suffered in silence. Today we reveal the untold stories of 40 beloved actors who hid their illness until their final moments. This is not just a list. It's a tribute to their strength, privacy, and legacy. With piercing blue eyes and unmatched charisma, Paul Newman carried the weight of lung cancer in silence for over a year, shielding his final chapter from the public eye to preserve dignity and peace. He passed at 83, leaving behind not only films, but a life of quiet strength and kindness. In his final years, the legendary John Wayne battled stomach cancer for 4 years, refusing to let the world see defeat. With a steady smile and unshaken voice, he remained a symbol of courage until the end. He left us at 72, not just as a star, but as an enduring figure of resilience and grace. Gary Cooper bore the pain of advanced prostate cancer with remarkable dignity for nearly 2 years, continuing to appear publicly and even accepting an honorary Oscar shortly before his passing. At age 60, he reminded the world that strength can be silent and farewell can be noble. Though age weathered his frame, Kirk Douglas remained the warrior of Spartacus until the end. After a stroke, he quietly fought to recover speech, inspiring many with his willpower. His final years were lived in privacy, guarding a legacy built on resilience, grit, and unforgettable power on screen. We deeply mourn his loss and honor his undying spirit. Alan Rickman, with his commanding voice and presence, faced pancreatic cancer with quiet dignity. He chose to keep it private, continuing to work as long as he could. His silence was not retreat, but a tribute to professionalism. In mourning him, we remember the strength behind every word he spoke and every role he embodied. Burt Reynolds, once the charming king of box office, hid his health struggles behind humor and pride. Despite heart disease, he kept working, refusing to let weakness define him. Behind the sunglasses was a man of courage and grace. His passing left a void in Hollywood's golden legacy. We honor his unyielding spirit and unforgettable charisma. Gregory Peck, a symbol of quiet strength and moral clarity, faced his final illness with dignity. He chose not to make his suffering public, preferring to be remembered for the characters who shaped generations. Calm and noble until the end, Peck remains a towering figure in cinema and in our hearts. We pay tribute to his noble life and legacy. Known as the King of Cool, Steve McQueen faced mesothelioma with fierce independence. Rejecting the spotlight, he sought out unconventional treatments, chasing hope far from Hollywood. Even in pain, he stayed true to his rebel soul and cinematic legacy. We remember him with deep admiration. Patrick Swayze, with his graceful charm and powerful roles, fought pancreatic cancer for nearly 2 years. He kept smiling, kept working, and showed unmatched strength, especially for his fans. Behind the scenes, he carried pain with dignity. His courage lives on in every heart he touched. Robin Williams brought light to the world while struggling in the shadows of Lewy body dementia. Misdiagnosed and misunderstood, he faced confusion with quiet bravery. Behind every joke was a man trying to hold on. His laughter still echoes, and our hearts ache with gratitude. Henry Fonda, the quiet father figure of cinema, lived through years of illness with humility and grace. He sought no sympathy, speaking rarely of his pain. Even as his body weakened, his calm presence never wavered. We honor his quiet strength and the humanity he brought to every role. Bogart, the embodiment of quiet strength and timeless charm, faced his illness without complaint. He concealed his suffering, determined that the world would remember his legacy, not his decline. Even in his final days, he remained every bit the screen legend. We remember him with deep admiration and heartfelt sorrow. Gandolfini channeled intensity and heart into each performance, hiding years of health struggles behind his commanding presence. His unexpected passing while abroad felt like losing a towering spirit without warning. The silence he left behind still echoes. His artistry and humility remain dearly missed. Candy made generations laugh with unmatched warmth and timing, yet bore private burdens away from the spotlight. He gave his all until the very end, his heart enduring more than the world ever knew. His departure left a void where joy once lived. We cherish his memory with gratitude and sorrow. Hoskins chose dignity over spectacle as Parkinson's disease quietly took hold. With a voice that could command or comfort, he stepped away from the screen, letting his finest roles speak for him. His silence was not absence, but legacy. He is fondly remembered with deep respect and admiration. Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away at 46. For nearly a year, he kept his struggles with relapse and depression hidden, fearing stigma. Behind his powerful roles was a man in pain, battling in silence. We honor him not for the way he died, but for the depth and truth he brought to every performance. Gene Wilder left us at 83, after quietly battling Alzheimer's disease for 3 years. He chose to keep it private, wanting fans to remember joy, not sorrow. In silence, he faded. Yet the laughter and wonder he gave the world will never dim. We remember him with heartfelt gratitude and love. Rod Steiger died at 77, after decades of living with depression and health complications, which he never spoke of publicly. His pain remained unseen, yet it fueled performances of haunting depth. We pay tribute to his strength and to the honesty he channeled into every role. Peter Sellers passed away at 65, after quietly enduring chronic heart disease for several years. He concealed his illness to protect the joy he brought to audiences. Behind the iconic laughter of the Pink Panther was a man battling time. We remember him with deep admiration and lasting affection. Marlon Brando, at 80, chose seclusion in his final years, hiding his long illness to preserve the aura that once defined a generation. Far from cameras, he embraced silence, letting the world remember not the fragile man, but the legend who once roared with cinematic power. Richard Burton passed at 58, after years of concealing his health struggles. The grandeur of his voice and presence masked a quiet decline. He chose not to let the world witness his vulnerability, holding on to dignity, even as his strength faded behind closed doors. Frank Sinatra died at 82, having endured multiple illnesses in private for 3 to 4 years. The icon known as Old Blue Eyes shielded his decline to protect the image the world loved. Even in farewell, he chose grace and mystery over exposure, leaving a final bow worthy of his legend. James Coburn lived with severe illness for over 20 years before his passing at 74. He endured immense pain while maintaining the strong presence the audience admired. Against the odds, he made a triumphant return late in life, earning an Oscar and refusing to let illness define his legacy. Clark Gable, the silver screen symbol of strength, endured chest pain and exhaustion silently during the Misfits, unwilling to let the world see his declining health. At 59, he passed just days after filming Wrapped, choosing to preserve the image of unshakable masculinity he had built for decades. We remember him with deep admiration and heartfelt respect. Sean Connery spent nearly 3 years in quiet decline, away from the spotlight, after being diagnosed with dementia. Without complaint, he chose to fade, gently, wishing to be remembered as the sharp and charismatic James Bond. At age 90, he departed in peace and dignity. Our gratitude to this legend will never fade. In the final year of his life, Dennis Hopper battled prostate cancer while also enduring a bitter divorce. Despite the pain, he stood before his fans to receive his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, his face lit with defiant joy. At 74, he left as he lived, with passion and courage. His legacy remains, and we mourn with sincere respect. Jack Lemmon, who passed away at 76 after quietly battling bladder cancer for several years, never sought sympathy. Known for blending comedy and heartbreak, he asked only to be remembered with grace. His silence spoke of a dignity that defined his life both on and off screen. Chadwick Boseman, who passed at 43 from stage 4 colon cancer, kept his illness private for 4 years. While enduring multiple surgeries and treatments, he still gave the world iconic roles like Black Panther. His courage in silence became a beacon of strength and hope for millions. James Stewart passed away at 89 after quietly facing health complications related to heart and lung issues. The beloved icon of American cinema never complained, choosing instead to let his legacy speak for him. Even in fading strength, he remained the gentle, dignified presence that audiences adored. Rock Hudson, once a symbol of Hollywood romance, passed at 59 after silently living with illness for over a year. Fearing misunderstanding and stigma, he chose silence until the very end. His quiet strength reflected the pain of living in a world not yet ready to embrace truth with compassion. Ray Liotta, known for his unforgettable role in Goodfellas, passed away in his sleep at age 67 while filming in the Dominican Republic. For several years, he had kept his declining health a secret, continuing to work with dedication and fire in his eyes until his final days. Walter Matthau, cherished for his comic brilliance in The Odd Couple and Grumpy Old Men, passed away at 79 from a heart attack. Unknown to many, he had secretly battled colon cancer and severe heart disease for years, never letting the world see his suffering, only his laughter. Sir Durk Bogard, star of The Servant and Death in Venice, endured a major stroke in 1996, which left him partially paralyzed, followed by Parkinson's disease. Despite losing his speech and mobility, he chose to live in dignified silence, passing away in 1999 at the age of 78. Tony Curtis, the iconic matinee idol of Some Like It Hot, passed away at 85 from cardiac arrest brought on by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. For over a decade, he had concealed his struggle to breathe, appearing vibrant in public while battling for air in private. Charles Bronson, known for his steely gaze and action roles, quietly faced the final chapter of his life while battling Alzheimer's disease. For years, his condition remained private, a choice made to preserve the fierce legacy he built. He passed away at 81, leaving behind an image of silent strength and enduring dignity. Fred Astaire, the legendary dancer whose grace defined an era, faced pneumonia and age-related complications with quiet resilience. He concealed his illness for years, determined to let the world remember only his elegance. Astaire passed away at 88, leaving behind a legacy of poise, style, and a final farewell as graceful as his life. James Garner, beloved for his warm presence and subtle humor, battled heart disease for several years in silence. He chose to shield the public from his struggles, wanting his legacy to shine unclouded. Garner passed at 86, remembered not for decline, but for the grace, wit, and kindness that defined his unforgettable screen presence. The gravel-voiced icon of film noir, Robert Mitchum, passed away at 79 after quietly battling lung cancer for several months. He chose not to share his illness, seeking no pity, and continued acting with silent strength until the very end. Sir Alec Guinness, known for his iconic role as Obi-Wan in Star Wars and a long career on stage, faced liver cancer and glaucoma in his final 2 years. He remained private to protect his legacy and family, spending his last days in peaceful seclusion. Richard Harris, beloved for his role as Albus Dumbledore in Harry Potter, spent his final months battling Hodgkin's disease. Although he never spoke publicly about his condition, the sadness in his eyes told a silent farewell. He died at 72, leaving behind a legacy of magic and depth. Their silence spoke volumes. If their stories touched your heart, like, subscribe, and help us keep their memory alive.